Welcome back to another video review. This is the Tech Gooch. And this time I actually have a nice interesting little review for you. This is actually a brand new Kickstarter campaign. It's actually probably midway through right about now. I was sent it about a week ago now, after backing the campaign and saying, basically telling them that I can't wait to do the review once hopefully that I receive it if it gets backed. Right now it's kind of iffy whether or not it's actually going to meet its funding, but I did receive it. He sent it to me right away actually. And it is the Talon Extend mount for a GoPro, or to be honest, any action camera. Right now I'm actually without a GoPro, but I do have the Sony action camera, but which case I actually own an adapter to make that Sony camera work on any GoPro mount. I also have some friends that have GoPros, and so we kind of tried it out on those as well. Obviously it works just as good as my Sony, but it is a machined aluminum quick release fully pivoting mount for the GoPro camera, or for any action camera, like I said. It is usable in its extension mode, which is how I have it set up right now, which basically you attach it to a handlebar. It's designed for biking or anything really that has a bar mount. So if you have a canoe, kayak, or whatever, you could attach the paddle. You could attach it a whole bunch of different ways, and I know the guys over at Talon have already done that and have several videos available through the Kickstarter campaign if you actually go that way. But it is a fully pivoting, so obviously this is not clamped on anything, so it's not tight, and I'll bring it over here. So you can kind of see it has a pivoting action. Once it tightens up, once you actually have a bar through here and it's nice and tight, it's stiff. I mean, really stiff. It holds on really good. And if you just loosen the quick release down here, then you can actually pivot it however you want to do it. So as loose as you want. Obviously, if you loosen it up, like here they have the little quick release. Now if you loosen it up, just like a bike wheel, you can take it apart. And that's actually how you adjust things. So if you actually want to use, you don't want to use the extension module, and you don't have to actually purchase the extension module, which is this guy here. You can just buy this, or obviously in my case, since I have both here, I can do the extension, or I can actually do just the straightforward clamp with a single pivot point. Now, depending on what kind of shooting you're doing, this is obviously if you're mounting it directly on a bar and you want to get any angle of viewing. With the extension, you actually get the ability to do it at 90 degrees. So if you actually attach this to like your seat post or a down tube of some kind, you can actually turn the camera 90 degrees and get a really neat shot that way. And I did some videos, and I'll show you here in a little bit, of video that I shot not only on the handlebar, but also video I shot attached to the seat post and looking down at the wheel and things like that. Another neat thing about the extension module is that if you actually kit it on here, it pushes the camera further out from the handlebar, and then you can actually turn the camera around and face it toward you, so you can actually get a pretty neat view of yourself riding. I don't actually have a clip that I've filmed of that yet, but I'm definitely going to be using it for that, because it's something that actually works really, it would work really good for it. That said, it's the thing about that makes this mount is the fact that not only is it a system that everybody's familiar with that does anything with biking or anything with the quick release lever, so it's, oh, I understand how to do that works. It tightens up. It's fully adjustable. Even the but even the clamp, I mean, it's solid machined aluminum with a really nice hinge on it. So you get a really good clamping. Now obviously this is a fairly large diameter hole, and the one thing that they do include, which is now way over on the other side of the room now, is a black piece. Yeah, give me just a moment, I'm going to run and grab that. So yeah, here's the one thing they do include, that he included with mine at least, is just a shim basically. And to be honest, the one thing that you kind of realize is that this is a hard plastic shim, not a rubber shim. And that is the biggest difference between this mount and any of the other mounts that I've ever used. rubber shims make it the vibrations a lot more perceptive in action camera video or anything that's hard mounted. If you hard mount the camera, you actually get better video. So this shim did not fit my handlebar. A little too small. Without the shim, it was a little too big, so I kind of needed an intermediary. And I actually spoke to him about this, asking him whether or not he was going to offer different sizes, and he has the equipment set up that he could offer through his website, or maybe if the Kickstarter campaign goes through, that he'll offer different size shims. Or there's two other options. He actually has this diameter shim without a hole in it, so you can actually drill it yourself to whichever size you want. Or the model actually, so you can have this 3D printed to whatever size that you needed. Nice thing about that is, obviously, even now that the UPS stores have 3D printers, and a lot of them now, that's beginning to become more and more of a usable option. But that's the clamp, and then of course you have the quick release piece. The other thing I really, really like about this system and how he designed it was the fact that, yes, you can obviously unscrew this all the way out, and it's just a standard quick release bolt with, you know, a standard length, but the nut can't fall out, so you're not worrying about losing these pieces, because obviously if you have all these pieces you could lose it. This is a piece that's actually a standard piece that you can actually get at a bike store. Even the quick release mount itself, if you were to bend it or break it or whatever, you could obviously even replace this, and then just a little piece of threaded rod. The one thing that I would like to have seen is try to get, you know, would have been nice to have some way to keep this little black guy from just to stay on there, even though I don't take it off very frequently. It still would have been a nice little feature to have that, so it could never fall off. That said, since you have, if you have the extended and they're normal, you don't really ever take them off, so it's not a big deal. So, but it's a lot easier, obviously, if it would have stayed down there. But I don't know how that would be done, to be honest. So I think it's just a feature that I want that probably isn't feasible at all. So I'm not going to knock that against it. Secondly, so the actual GoPro mount that comes with it is just a standard hex bolt. You know, yes, everything else is done with hand bolts, so you don't have to have tools. That probably would have been the one thing that I would like to have seen it actually come with a bolt that actually is hand tightenable. However, with this guy, you can get a much tighter fit. You can actually crank it down better. So, personally, I think I would still use this. And since you're biking or you're anything, you know, you can bring a multi-tool with you and have it with you. But that would be another knock against it, is the fact that the tool necessary to put the camera on and off. Now, in my case, because I use the GoPro adapter, once I get the adapter on here, then everything's hand tightened for me for the camera itself. So you can kind of stick it on there as well. Same thing if you did an extension with the GoPro, you could crank that extension down and then have the hand crank tight for the plastic GoPro adapter that comes with the camera anyway. So now I'm going to go ahead and kind of go into some videos for you, and you can take a peek at me riding with it on my standard handlebar mount that I purchased for, specifically, obviously for my Sony camera, my Sony Action Cam, which has rubber, and I'm going to go through those a little bit with you to show you exactly what I'm using, and yeah, let's just let that footage roll. So here we are in my garage, and I have the Talon mounted on my handlebar with just the standard. Now this is a GoPro adapter that I have for my Sony Action camera that I mainly use now. And then we have the standard, and then the extension mount would allow you to put it on here and then coming out at an angle, kind of like this. So if you were to put this on a seat post or whichever, gives you the 90-degree angle. But also, if you push this down, had this, you kind of think of coming straight out like this, you'd push out further, and then you could actually turn the camera around facing toward the rider. Now in my case, because the one adapter that he sent me, I had to actually make my own shim down here, which I actually made out of PVC pipe, which actually was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, that's basically how it's set up. So let me throw the camera on there real quick. So here we have my Sony action camera on my adapter to the GoPro mount. Now, obviously, you can see here the GoPro mount actually has an Allen head bolt on it rather than the standard hand turn. Now, in this case, it would, you'd definitely be able to get it tighter with that, so it wouldn't slip as much. And I'm sure that's why he actually did that. But that's how it's going to come, is with the Allen head bolt. And then in my case, obviously, I have this secondary adapter here. Basically, I'm going to try to do this. You loosen up the quick release on the bottom, and just loosening it a little bit will give me some movement out of the Talon ball head here. And maybe I'm getting too close, but you can swivel it around side to side. And then once you clamp her down, nice and tight, it moves only if I put a lot of pressure on it, but as I ride, I haven't had it fall on me yet. Now that's interesting to say, but because I haven't had a mount that actually kept it as sturdy as this one to date. Now, that said, as soon as I would get a better adapter here, because I do have a lot of airspace in the back here, right back here. If I was to get an actual adapter for my bar, that would be even sturdier yet, and I'm definitely going to be contacting him about that. So, but that's how she mounts on the bike handlebar itself. But yeah, it's a pretty sweet setup. This is with the Talon mount. Okay, now I'm going to actually use the actual mount that you can purchase from, in my case with my Sony action camera, the Sony action camera mount from the handlebar mount. And you'll actually see a difference. Now neither of these footages, the one that I just showed you with the Talon, nor the one that I'm doing now, have anything other than the Sony's, their Steadicam basically built into it. But their optical image stabilization that they have built into the camera. I am not doing anything post-processing to these videos, and while, obviously it's a camera going over rough terrain, there's going to be a little bit of this, but you'll see a major difference on the actual Sony one with that rubber stuff. So yeah, check this one out. So just to kind of show you what I'm going up against with the Talon, this is the Sony handlebar mount for the action camera. The nice thing is it has this nice pivoting ability with just a quick button push. However, like all of them, there's a nice rubber shim in here, and it has a lot of play to it. Now, unlike the GoPro, which I've used before, which every single time I used it, it would loosen up and then drop and look down. This one doesn't do that. It is tightened by an Allen bolt, and it doesn't loosen up like that one. However, this one has a lot of play to it, so it bounces up and down a lot is what I've noticed. So we'll kind of compare the two side by side, even though I'm trying to run the same route. So I'll try to do that now. And here I am to show you another mounting idea. In this case, I have actually a trailer bike that I actually have that comes off the back here that my 5-year-old rides along with me. And I actually put the Talon on here with the adapter and everything, and I have the camera here. Obviously, I can mount it up or down. I can even mount this up higher and then turn the camera upside down if I needed to. Because I have a lot more flexibility that way. That said, I could also bring it off to the side and bring the camera down. But this is how you would use the arm to get a 90-degree angle out of it. So with the standard mount and the extension arm, you get a lot of capable camera mounts for any bike or basically any pipe mount situation, as long as you have the correct adapter. In this case, I have a rubber one here, and I'm actually going to be making a plastic one but in talking with the guys that designed it, they are definitely going to be bringing out some more adapters that get this little bit of flex play out of it. But I'll ride this. I'll actually point the camera down so you can kind of see the wheel spin, and then you can get an idea of how much rattle there is, even with this rubber shim that I have here, which I don't really like too much. So I'm going to end the video a little bit off kilter than I usually do, but I'm going to do it here in my garage. And as you can see, the video footage kind of speaks for itself. It's a lot more solid than the Sony. Now, I cranked the Sony down really, really tight, but that rubber grommet, that rubber spacer, or the adapter or whichever to make it fit my bar size, really irks me because it just makes your video footage look terrible. I mean, when I first got that, I really, this is going to be great. It's going to grab on real good. After I got back from shooting a couple hours of video footage, most of the video footage just wasn't really usable because it was just too shaky, too bouncy. I kind of had the same thing when I had my GoPro. When I got the standard handlebar mount from GoPro is, oh yeah, this is going to be great. I cranked it down really good and tight, but then my camera just kept nosing down all the time. The Talon basically has solved that for me. Now as a backer, or a hopefully he gets his funding, solid mount. It's a little tricky to set up at first, but once you get it set up, really easy to adjust it, and it's a very versatile mount, especially if you get that extension arm, because you can basically mount it anywhere. My big call out to him is to make sure that he gets the adapters, obviously that he offers adapters for it. Now I understand that you can only ship with so many, but if nothing else, include a raw adapter that anybody could just take a drill and actually make their own bar size, basically. That would be perfectly fine for me. And then, of course, make them available. So, but that is the Talon GoPro mount for handlebars, round objects of any type, really, as long as you have the adapter to make it fit. 2 thumbs up, to be honest. I really do love it, and I will be using it from here on out. I've used my Sony one even on a boat, on like a tow bar for a boat when we're when you're skiing or tubing or anything, and I will be using this next summer instead because it will work much better than the one that I've had prior. So check them out. Kickstarter, just go to Kickstarter and search Talon. I'll probably put the link down in the notes here below. Support them. I know they only have several days left here. I hope they hit it. It's a fantastic product. So that said, this is the Tech Gooch saying thanks for watching. Subscribe above, comment below. Let me know if you have any other future reviews, ideas, I guess. I have several more up my sleeve, hopefully to get out as many as I can before this year's holiday season. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you later.